Hello students, we were studying chapter number 14 chemical effects of electric current. So this is your summary lecture and in this lecture we will summarize the complete chapter. Okay. So students, let us first learn about some important terms used to describe chemical effects of electric current. We have learned earlier classes that some material allow electricity to pass through them while some do not allow electricity to pass through them. Right? We have already learned in the previous classes. Now on the basis of this, the materials are divided into two categories. First is conductor. Now what are conductors? The materials which allow electricity to pass through them are called conductors. It means if electricity can pass through the material, then that materials are called conductors. Okay, if electric current pass through the material, then that material is called conductor. For example, all metals are conductors. It means electricity can pass through all metals. Okay. For example, we know that electricity can pass through wires, right? And the wires is made up of metals like aluminium, copper. So electric wire is an example of conductor, or we can say the all metals are conductors. Okay. On the other hand, the material which do not allow electricity to pass through them are called insulators. Okay. Means if the electricity do not pass through the material, then that material is called insulator. For example, rubber, plastics and glass. These materials do not allow electricity to pass through them. Like if you want to pass electricity through these materials, then electricity cannot pass through these materials. And these are called insulator. It means the material which do not allow electricity, that are called insulator. Okay, electricity cannot pass through them like rubber, plastic, glass. Okay. So students, now the question is, how can we check whether the given materials are conductor or insulator? So students, in class 6, we made a tester to test whether a particular material allows the electric current to pass through it or not. So now we will recall how the tester helped us in deciding that whether the given material is conductor or insulator. We found that metals such as copper, aluminium conduct electricity, whereas materials such as rubber, plastic and wood do not conduct electricity. So students, now we will perform an activity to check whether the given materials are insulators or conductors. And for doing the activity, the materials required are: take a screwdriver, 2 copper wires, a cell and a bulb. Okay. And make a circuit as shown in this picture. This is a cell whose one end is connected to bulb and the other end of the cell is connected to the metal part of the screwdriver. And here you can see that this wire is also connected to the metal part of the screwdriver. So what happened in this case? Does the bulb glows when connected to metallic part of screwdriver? Does the bulb glows So you will observe that the bulb glows when the wires are connected to the metal part of the screwdriver. Okay, means bulb glows. But why? Why the bulb glows when the wires are connected to the metal part of the screwdriver? Because metals are good conductor of electricity. Okay, it allows the electricity to pass through them. So this shows that all metals are good conductor of electricity. Okay, so by doing this activity, we have observed that metals are good conductor of electricity. So if we consider the another case, suppose now we are connecting the ends of the wires to the plastic handle of the screwdriver. So what happened in this case? Does the bulb glow when the wires are connected to the plastic handle of screwdriver? No, bulb does not glow. Why? Because plastic is an insulator. This shows that plastic is an insulator because on connecting the wires with the plastic handle of screwdriver, the bulb does not glow. This shows plastic is an insulator. So in this way, we can find out that whether the given material are insulators or conductors. Okay. So students, result of our activity is we have observed that in case of metals, bulb glows. That's why they are called conductors. Metals are conductors. And in case of plastic, bulb does not glow and plastics are insulators. So this is the result of our activity. So students, other than solids, liquids can also conduct electricity. Okay. So now we will learn about the conductivity of liquids. Okay. So students, water that contain impurities such as salts, minerals can conduct electricity. Means if the water contain impurities, then that water can conduct electricity. For example, tap water. Tap water contain many impurities. It means tap water can conduct electricity. Sea water can also conduct electricity. River, lake and ponds water can also conduct electricity. Means water that contain impurities can conduct electricity. And the liquids like lime juice, salt solutions are also good conductors of electricity. Means liquids like lime juice and salt solution can also conduct electricity. Means electricity can pass through these liquids. Okay, electricity can pass through these liquids. So students, now we will do an activity number 2 to show that tap water conducts electricity. Aim of our activity is to show that tap water conducts electricity. And for doing this activity, the materials required are battery, bulb and wires. Means take a battery, bulb and some wires and make a electric circuit. Before making the circuit, you should know the symbol of some materials that are used in electric circuit. Wire is represented by a straight line. It can be horizontal line or vertical line. Okay, and the bulb represented by this symbol. This is a symbol of bulb. this shows a bulb. Okay, and battery is represented by this symbol. This is a symbol of battery, and we know there are two terminals in a battery, positive terminal and negative terminal. This longer line represents positive terminal of the battery, and this shorter line represented the negative terminal of the battery. Battery is a combination of cells, okay, and battery is represented by this symbol. Now we will make an electric circuit, okay. First of all, consider a battery. This is the positive end of the battery and this is the negative end of the battery. Now join the negative end of the battery with a bulb, okay, and connect the other end of the battery, means the positive terminal of the battery, with a wire. This straight line shows a wire, means the positive terminal of the battery is connected with a wire. Similarly, connect the other end of the bulb with another wire, okay, like this, and then take a beaker which is filled with tap water. Suppose this beaker is filled with tap water. And dip the free ends of the wire. These are the free ends of the wire. Now dip these free ends of the wire into tap water like this. But remember one thing, take care that the ends are not more than 1 centimeter apart, okay, and they do not touch each other. So when you dip the wires into tap water, does bulb glows? Means on dipping the free ends of the wire into tap water, does bulb glows? Can electric current pass through them? So the answer is bulb glows. Means you will see that the bulb glows. Why? Because tap water allow the electric current to pass through them. Okay. Tap water allow the electric current to pass through them. So when the bulb receives the electric current, then it glows. Okay. Bulb glows on receiving the electric current. It means it shows tap water also conduct electricity. Tap water allows current to pass through them. Okay. So from this activity we have proved that the tap water conducts electricity, and if you take lemon juice in place of tap water, then on taking lemon juice the bulb also glows. Okay. On taking lemon juice also bulb glows. It means what? The lemon juice also conducts electricity. So the water which contain impurities can conduct electricity. Okay, like tap water, pond water, river water, they contain impurities such as salts and minerals. So they are good conductor of electricity. But the distilled water or pure water which are free from impurities cannot conduct electricity. Okay. So the result is tap water can conduct electricity. Distilled water or pure water does not contain any impurity. That's why they cannot conduct electricity. We have learnt about the conductivity of liquids, right? And I have already told you that the water which contains impurity conduct electricity, and the distilled water or pure water which is free from impurities does not conduct electricity. And for showing the conductivity of liquids, we have already done an activity and we will come to a conclusion, that is, if the bulb which is connected to these wire glows, it means what? The liquid which we have taken in the beaker conduct electricity. And if this bulb does not glow, then this shows the water which is in beaker does not conduct electricity. Okay, now how the bulb glows? So students, bulb glows due to the heating effect of electric current. Because due to heating effect of electric current, the filament of the bulb gets heated to a high temperature and it starts glowing. Means on receiving the current, the bulb starts glowing. Okay. But you know, some liquids conduct electricity and even after that the bulb does not glow. But why? So students, it happens in the case when the strength of current is too weak. When the current is too weak, the filament does not get heated sufficiently and it does not glow. This is the reason. When the strength of current is too weak, then the filament does not get heated sufficiently and does not glow. It happens with those liquids which are not good conductors of electricity. But now the question is, how can we check the flow of electric current from these liquids? How can we check? How to check the weak current in circuit? Okay, now we will study that how to check the weak current in circuit. So, for detecting the weak current in circuit, or if we want to detect even small amount of current flowing through the liquid, then two materials can be used, that is LED and magnetic compass. LED, the full form of LED is light emitting diode. L for light, E for emitting and D for diode. Now, what is LED? LED, light emitting diode, is an electric device that starts emitting light even when a weak current flows through it. It means LED glows on receiving the weak amount of current also. Okay, or less amount of current also. LED works when the strength of current is too weak. Okay, it also glows on receiving the less amount of current. So, let us study more about LED. There are two wires called leads attached to an LED. This is a picture of LED. Here, two wires are attached to an LED and these two wires are called leads. You can see clearly that one lead is longer and other is slightly shorter, right? And this longer lead is always connected to positive terminal of battery and this shorter lead is always connected to negative terminal of battery. And this LED is also available in different colors, like this is a red color and LED also available in green color also, yellow color also. Okay, and what is the main function? That it can detect the weak amount of current also. Okay, this LED can detect even small amount of current flowing through the liquids. So for detecting this small amount of current flowing through the liquid, LED can be used. Now the next is magnetic compass. Magnetic compass is also used to detect the small amount of current. Okay, and if a magnetic compass is placed near a current carrying wire, it gets deflected. Actually, in the magnetic compass, there are two needles like this. There are two needles, and when it is placed near a current carrying wire, then it gets deflected. It means when the magnetic compass deflected, or the deflection in the magnetic compass shows that some amount of current is flowing through the liquid. It shows the presence of current through the liquid or through the circuit, and this is called magnetic effect of current. Means this works on the principle of magnetic effect of current. A magnetic compass can detect very weak current also. It is an advantage that it can detect even small amount of current flowing through the liquid. So for detecting the small amount of current flowing through the liquid, we can also use magnetic compass. So for detecting this small amount of current, we can use LED and magnetic compass. So students, let's perform an activity. Activity number 3. The aim of this activity to check the conductivity of few liquids. Means in this we try to check that whether a given liquid is conductive in nature or not. Okay, and for performing this activity, things required are matchbox, compass, battery, wire. First of all, take a empty tray of matchbox. This is the empty tray of matchbox, and place a small compass inside it. Suppose now I am placing a compass inside this empty tray of matchbox. Suppose this is a compass having two needles. These are the two needles. And then wrap an electric wire like this. Wrap an electric wire on it and connect one end of the wire to the positive terminal of the battery and take another piece of wire and connect the other end of the battery with it. Means with the negative terminal of the battery, connect another wire in this way. And from this side also connect the wires. These are the free ends of the wire, and if you join these free ends of the wire for a few seconds, then you will observe a deflection in the compass needle. Means the needles of the compass will move from its original position. That is called deflection. Means you will observe a deflection in the compass needle when you connect these wires for few seconds. Now it is ready to test different liquids. For example, if you want to test the lemon juice, then place a beaker under these wires and fill this beaker with the lemon juice. And if compass needle shows deflection, it means what? This lemon juice, good conductor of electricity. And if compass needle does not show deflection, then it means the liquid which you have taken in the beaker does not conduct electricity. So students, now we will test the liquids which is given in this table. Okay, we want to test the liquids that whether they conduct electricity or not. So, our first liquid is lemon juice. Can compass needle deflect? Yes or no? So, if we take lemon juice in a beaker, then it shows deflection. Yes, it shows deflection. It means what? It is a good conductor of electricity. Okay, so our next liquid is vinegar. Compass needle will not show any deflection when we take vinegar in a beaker. So write here no. Why? Because it is a poor conductor of electricity. Third is tap water. On taking tap water in a beaker, compass needle shows deflection. So yes, it means it is a good conductor. Vegetable oil, compass needle shows no deflection, so it is a poor conductor. Milk is a good conductor. Honey is a poor conductor, and orange juice shows deflection, so it is a good conductor. It means in this way we can check the conductivity of different liquids. Okay, and very important topic of this chapter is chemical effects of electric current. Basically, we are going to study the effects of electric current in liquids. Okay. When electric current is passed through liquids or solution which conduct electricity, some chemical reaction takes place. It means when electric current is passed through conducting solutions or liquids, then some chemical changes are seen in them. And two processes illustrate this chemical effect of electric current, which are electrolysis and electroplating. These are the two processes which describe the chemical effect of electric current. So we will study now electrolysis. To understand more about electrolysis, let us perform an activity. Activity number 4. The aim of this activity to study the effect of current on conducting liquids. Means in this activity, by this activity, we will study the effect of current in conducting liquids or solution. Okay. For this, material required are discarded cells, battery and some wires. First of all, take two carbon rods carefully from two discarded cells. These are two carbon rods. Okay. Now clean their metal caps with sandpaper. These are the metal cap. Clean their metal cap with the sandpaper. And now wrap copper wires around the metal caps, like in this way. I am wrapping the copper wires. Okay, wrap copper wires around the metal caps of the carbon rods and join them to a battery. Now join these wires to a battery. Join them to a battery in this way. This is the positive terminal of the battery and this is the negative terminal. Now we call these two rods as electrodes. Okay. Now these two rods become electrodes. These are called electrodes. Okay. Now take some water in a beaker and add a teaspoonful of salt or few drops of lemon juice to water to make it more conducting. Okay. Now immerse these two electrodes in this solution. Okay. As shown in this picture, and make sure the metal caps of the carbon rods are outside of the water. They should be outside of the water. Now wait for 3-4 minutes. After 3-4 minutes, you will observe gas bubbles near the electrodes. And the formation of gas bubbles indicates that a chemical reaction is taking place. Okay, this shows that some chemical reaction is taking place. It means what? When electric current is passed through conducting solution, because the lemon juice or the salt solution is conducting in nature. So when electric current is passed through conducting solution, chemical changes are seen in them. Chemical reactions takes place. Some gas bubbles formed near the electrodes. So what we have observed, that when electrodes are immersed in conducting liquid and current is passed, then some bubbles, some gas bubbles form near the electrodes. Now here we know that water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen, right? Because the chemical formula of water is H2O, means water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. So in this, the bubbles of oxygen and the bubbles of hydrogen are formed, and the bubbles of oxygen are formed on the electrode which is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. Means this electrode is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. So here bubbles of oxygen formed. Bubbles of oxygen are formed on this electrode. Okay, and the hydrogen gas bubbles are formed on the electrode which is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So on this electrode, hydrogen gas bubbles are formed. On this electrode, hydrogen gas bubbles are formed, and on this electrode, oxygen gas bubbles are formed. Okay, and this formation of gas bubbles indicates that a chemical reaction is taking place, and the chemical reaction is water on passing electricity, then hydrogen and oxygen gas bubbles are formed. This is the chemical reaction which are taking place during electrolysis of water. In this, there is a decomposition of an electrolyte by passing electric current. There is a decomposition of hydrogen and oxygen on the electrodes on passing electric current. So students, what is electrolysis? The decomposition of an electrolyte by passing electric current through conducting solution. Okay, and it may result in the formation of gas bubbles, and sometimes there is a change in color of the solution. Sometimes the color of the solution can also change in this process. So this is all about electrolysis method. Uses of electrolysis. Now what are the uses of this process? First is, it is used for extraction of metals from their ores. Second is, it is used for the manufacture of chemicals like chlorine gas, hydrogen gas, etc., which are used in industries on a large scale. Third is, it is used for refining metals. Metals like zinc, copper and silver are refined using this process. So these are the various uses of electrolysis process. So students, in the previous lecture we have learned that the electrode which is connected to positive terminal of the battery is called anode, and the electrode which is connected to negative terminal of the battery is called cathode. Now the question is, can we identify the positive terminal of battery? So now we will perform an activity in which we are trying to show that we can identify the positive terminal of the battery. So the aim of our activity is to identify the positive terminal of a battery with the help of a potato. Okay, means by the help of potato we can identify the positive terminal of a battery. But how? So for doing this activity, things required are copper wire for making the circuit, potato and a battery. So what you have to do, take a potato and slice it into two parts. This is the slice of a potato. And put the two ends of the copper wire into the potato and leave it undisturbed for half an hour. Okay, what you have to do, put the two ends of the copper wire into the potato. One end is connected to positive terminal of the battery and the other end is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So in this way you can make circuit, and one end of the wire is into the potato and the other end is also into the potato. Now leave it undisturbed for half an hour. So when you leave it for half an hour, you will see a greenish blue dot or greenish blue spot on the potato around one wire only. Now repeat this activity a few times. You will notice that the green spot is always formed around the wire that is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. Okay. Green spot is always formed around the wire which is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. It means this green spot shows that this end is the positive terminal of the battery. So in this way we can identify the positive terminal of the battery. Thus we can say a potato can be used to identify the positive terminal of the battery. Okay, so what is our conclusion? We have concluded that green spot is always formed around the wire that is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. So this green spot shows that this end is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. So this is your activity, that how can we identify the positive terminal of the battery with the help of a potato. Now our next and very important topic of this chapter is electroplating. Okay, now what is electroplating? The process of depositing a thin layer of any superior metal over an object with the help of electric current is called electroplating. Okay, so for describing electroplating, let us consider an example. You might have seen jewelry that looks like gold, but its cost is much less than that of gold. Why? Because it looks like gold, but actually that is not a gold made jewelry. Means that jewelry is not made up of gold, but there is a coating of gold on it. It means what? There is a thin layer of gold over any other metal, and this is done with the help of electric current. Okay, how can we deposit a layer of gold onto the other metal? By the help of electric current. And this process of depositing a thin layer of any superior metal like gold or any other superior metal over an object or over any another metal with the help of electric current is called electroplating. Okay, this process is called electroplating. So now we will do an activity number 6, and the aim of this activity is to electroplate an iron spoon with copper. Means in this activity we came to know about that how can we deposit a layer of copper on an iron spoon. Means how can we electroplate an iron spoon with copper. First of all, take copper sulfate solution in a beaker. This copper sulfate solution is a conductive solution. Okay, this is a copper sulfate solution, and take a iron spoon. Okay, and connect an iron spoon which is to be electroplated to the negative terminal of the battery. Okay, and this is a copper strip. Copper strip, and connect a copper strip to the positive terminal of the battery. So the copper strip which is connected to positive terminal of the battery, this is called anode because it is connected to positive terminal of the battery, and this is connected to negative terminal of the battery, so it is called cathode. Okay, now dip the copper strip and iron spoon which is to be electroplated in a beaker, means into a copper sulfate solution, and after that leave this setup for half an hour. Leave it undisturbed for half an hour. So after half an hour you will see a deposit of reddish brown coating on the spoon. Means the spoon color appears reddish brown. Why? Because there is a deposition of a layer of copper on the spoon, and this is called electroplating. The process of depositing a thin layer of copper or any other metal over an object, means on spoon or any other object, with the help of electric current, because electric current is also flowing through the liquid in this method. So the process of depositing a thin layer of an metal over an object with the help of electric current is called electroplating. This process is called electroplating. So I am repeating, what is electroplating? The process of depositing a thin layer of any superior metal over an object with the help of electric current is called electroplating. Okay. Now we will discuss the various applications of electroplating. First application is, it is used in jewelry to make its shiny appearance. Okay, to make it attractive. Second is to prevent the iron objects from rust. Third is to protect or resist metal from scratches. And the last one is, tin cans that are used for storing food are made by electroplating tin on iron, because tin is less reactive than iron and this prevents the food from getting spoiled. Okay, so these are the various applications of
your homework is do assignment number 1, which have been uploaded on EdQuark. Okay, solve all the questions in fair notebook.